Friki de Bici, riding my bici around the streets of Valencia, Spain. Talking about more bike lane controversies today. From Indianapolis, Indiana this time. Probably not the bike capital of the world or even North America, but it still tells a story and teaches us a valuable lesson. So, kind of like in Edmonton the other day, where some guy's been on a crusade to stop a bike lane from being built because he feels as if it's the equivalent of a stage of the Tour de France being held in his neighborhood every single day. Okay, last time I will use that line, but I liked it. In Indianapolis, people in the neighborhood apparently succeeded at having a bike lane project stopped. So the city decided that, well, we're not going to build a bike lane, but what we are going to do is put Sharrows on the ground. So Sharrows are basically those little bike stencils that you see all over the place. You see them here in Valencia. They are in bike lanes and cyclocages to indicate that this is a space for bicycles. It's that simple. In the United States and other places, they're used for a bit of a different purpose. This started, or at least one of the first places to use Sharrows was in San Francisco. And it was happening in full force when I lived there. So the idea of a Sharrow in San Francisco was to get bicyclists out of the door zone. So when you're riding down a street and there's a row of parked cars that you're riding next to, if you're too close to those parked cars, you could unknowingly get doored. As in, somebody opens their door and there you are, riding right into it. So the Sharrows were strategically placed about 3 feet away from the parked cars, indicating to cyclists that this is where you should be riding to stay out of the door zone, and indicating to motorists that it's okay for people on bikes to be here. They are entitled to this space. They are allowed to take the lane for their safety, and safety would qualify in this case as staying out of the door zone. So on some streets, if you were riding your bike over a Sharrow, you'd be right there in the traffic lane. So what they found in San Francisco, and the guy that wrote this article that I found, which was actually linked to in the Indianapolis article, talking about the watered down plan going from bike lane to Sharrow, he found that Sharrows don't work. Now I don't know this guy, but I would say we were infrequent acquaintances in San Francisco. He went to Critical Mass all the time, and he was the executive director of the San Francisco Bicycle Coalition, an organization that I did some volunteer work, advocacy work for when I lived there. So Dave Schneider might have been the executive director when I was doing that. I don't remember, but I know he's always been a big bike figure in the city. And he was a big advocate of Sharrows. We're talking 20, 25 years ago. But then he realized that they don't really work. They don't do anything. And his conclusion, it would be funny if it wasn't so sad. He said that motorists just don't really want to wait behind a bike in the middle of the roadway. Forget what the law is, they just don't want to do it. So that's really what the problem is, right? It's like, we're not going to do a bike lane because people in the neighborhood don't want it. So we'll do a Sharrow, even though we know that they don't work. It's the ultimate form of placation, right? It's like, well, we're doing something. And ultimately, a Sharrow in some places is probably going to lead to more trouble than it's worth, right? Like, I really do feel like when some motorists see that stencil on the ground in the street, it makes them angry. It makes them angrier. And it's just this attitude of, well, you're in my way. And you're just an obstacle that's in my way. Here it's different because Sharrow or no Sharrow, people wait for you. They're cool. Traffic isn't moving nearly as fast on many streets, especially streets indicated as a ciclocalle or one where there are a lot of bikes to begin with. So that's an important thing to point out. But just in general, the attitude here is one of waiting. You've seen in my videos examples of people getting into the crosswalk and maybe doing it in a way that was slightly reckless, but it's just not nearly as aggressive as it is in the United States, at least in my experience. But you've also seen these examples of people just like letting you take the lane when you need to, giving you space to take the lane, as opposed to in LA where if a motorist sees you need to take the lane in Los Angeles, 9 times out of 10 they're going to speed up to stop you from doing whatever it is you need to do. So Sharrows started as a good idea. They're still in widespread use in San Francisco, but they've kind of turned into a thing. There's a video that I did that maybe I'll link to at the end of this one when I was riding around in San Francisco. There's a bike route there called the Wiggle, and I rode the Wiggle in that video. The Wiggle is a heavily used bike route that gets you from one part of the city to another very efficiently, and there's Sharrows on the ground all the way through it, mainly as an indicator for cyclists to tell them where to go. As I've said before, for people who are so strongly opposed to bike lanes, I just don't understand. What is the threat? If you're one of those people, tell me. Tell me in the comments, what is it about a bike lane that upsets you so much? More points if you're one of the people who actively advocate against them. Like, why? I don't understand. I don't think I'll ever be able to understand. This protected lane that we have right here, they're proven to increase cycling. And this one is pretty close to traffic. It's only separated by some little barriers in the ground that are only a few centimeters high. Then you have the protected bike lanes that are protected by parked cars, and then you have the ones that are up on the sidewalk. So the sidewalk is split between cyclists and pedestrians who are walking. And then you have the Holy Grail just down below to my left in the park, the completely 100% off-street bike lanes, or more aptly, bike paths. All of the above is just providing more choice in the city. Listen, some cycling advocates, there are some that are hardcore and they will never set foot in a car. But everybody draws the line somewhere, right? I let my license expire on my birthday in July. I no longer have a driver's license. I don't plan on getting one. I don't like being in cars. However, there are some things that I like to do that require a car. And I'll ride with a friend who has a car to go do them. Or I will rent a car and my wife will drive, right? She rented a car a few weeks ago. I forget where we went. Oh, Altea. And she rented the car, she drove it, no problem. Cars have their place. Stuff that I go by every day, that we all go by every day to live, to subsist. Maybe there was a train involved or an airplane. Not that those are the cleanest modes of transportation in the world. But there was a car involved, or a truck, a motor vehicle. So to be 110% anti-motor vehicle doesn't make sense, and it's just posturing, it's just posing, it's just flexing. And that is not going to advance things for anybody. For people that just want the playing field to be even and less lopsided toward the automobile, that type of attitude isn't going to work either. It's almost as bad as the extreme anti-bicycle argument. You have to understand the realities of life, and some people aren't going to want to ride around on a bike all the time. Like, as much as I love doing this, it isn't always easy. It takes physical exertion, and you have to be really watching. Not that you have to be watching when you're driving a car, but it's a little bit different. It's definitely a little bit different, and I can acknowledge that. And that's the thing, is being able to acknowledge the reality that somebody else is living. I think people have a very difficult time doing that. Acknowledging the reality that somebody else is living. You just cannot be 110% pro something and 110% anti something else. There needs to be more nuance, and we've gotten so polarized, not just in the United States, but in the world, where all nuance is lost, which in many ways makes you feel like all hope is lost. And that's why the best thing you can do is get on your bike, ride it, have as much fun as you can every day, try to take care of yourself, feel the people around you, think about what's going on in your community, and how you can contribute in just a tiny, tiny way. And maybe if we all did that, the world would be better. Idealistic rant over. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to Friki de Bici. So much more to come from this lovely city called Valencia, Spain.